Check this one out. So we got one called Teen School Cops for Breaking the Law. Oh, yeah.
East Palo Alto, California. The officer told the driver he was speeding and that the vehicle matched the description of one involved in an incident.
What?
Nah.
I want to see your ID.
You can't get my ID.
The teenage passenger is correct. Under settled case law, police engaged in a traffic stop are only entitled to the ID of the vehicle driver.
Yep.
They can ask passengers for ID, but the passengers can refuse.
I committed a crime.
You know what? And the officers cannot demand an ID from passenger of the vehicle, or they cannot demand ID from a person walking down the street unless the cops have they have reasonable suspicion that the person is committing a crime, has committed a crime, or about to commit a crime.
Or am I being detained? I'm not even the one driving.
But the officer said the vehicle matching your description.
So,
Yeah, give me your ID.
I don't
right
have
now.
my ID on me.
You don't have your ID?
Nope. What's up? Yeah, but I'm not the one being detained. I'm not the one being detained, sir. I know my rights. My lawyer told me what to say.
Smart man. Smart man.
My lawyer told me what to say exactly because this isn't the first time I've been stopped.
The lawyer's doing you a disservice.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
What's up?
You don't go with the program, it's going to be a...
Disservice, like I said, yeah. I said, oh, disservice, dude. You know my lawyer, huh? Do you know a lawyer? Yeah. Why don't you call him up? 1-800-FUCK you. Yeah, call him up on that number.
Long stop. All right? Yeah. And then your buddy here is going to get a speeding ticket because of you. How's that? Now tell me your rights.
I still have rights.
Okay. There's nothing about your rights. We're telling you to give us your
I don't have my ID.
Well, you should have one, right?
No, I shouldn't.
So pick a road.
Yeah, cops will say, oh, you need your ID anywhere you go. No, you don't. If you're walking down the neighborhood or down the store, or if you're in a passenger, you don't have to have your ID. There are some states it's not a stop and ID state. If I'm correct, California is not one of those states.
You're lucky day. You get a ticket.
For what? You didn't even clock him.
I want to get you ready to go to the phone, right?
Huh? This car can't even go past 60.
I wasn't even speeding or anything.
He didn't even clock you, It's good, you can fight it. He doesn't have a radar gun. He didn't clock you.
That's cool if you don't have an ID. What's your name?
Nah, I'm not giving you my name. I'm not giving you anything.
They say, oh, what's your name? Sorry, I don't questions. I don't ask questions. I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment right. You don't like it? Tough shit. Talk to my lawyer. Yep. That's the best thing. Oh, what's your name? What need your ID? Nope. I don't ask questions. Sorry, I don't answer the corrupt. I don't answer corrupt pigs. How do you like me now? Sorry, I don't ask questions. I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right. Revoking the right. Yeah, I'm provoking my Fifth Amendment right. I said this conversation's over, pig bitch.
By law, I don't have to give you anything if I'm not being detained. No, I don't. By law, do I have to give you my name if I'm not being detained or I didn't commit a crime? I'm not even the one driving.
So you're in the vehicle that committed a crime?
No, it's
didn't
not.
commit no
You
crime.
just accused me of committing a crime after he
I
just
said you're in
said.
the same vehicle that committed a crime. That's your
How do you know it's this vehicle if he just said it's the description of the vehicle?
Yeah, description of the vehicle matches. You didn't say it's this vehicle. It's the vehicle that matches description. Huge difference.
Detain me
Huge
for what?
difference.
Nah, watch
Get
out.
out of the car.
For what?
Get out of the car.
Obstructing what?
You don't have any... You're being detained right now.
Detained for what? What crime did I commit?
Down your phone? I'm taking your phone.
That was an unlawful detainment. And
It really was.
reports, the East Palo Alto police officers involved in this stop were eventually reprimanded. This video is a couple of years old, but it is gaining traction again thanks to the police auditor community. Some of the nation's top constitutional rights activists have been linking to the video as a perfect example of a teenage passenger who knows his rights and police officers who do not. The fact is, the courts have repeatedly ruled that during a vehicle traffic stop, like for speeding or a missing taillight, only the driver is required to produce identification. The passengers are under no obligation to produce an ID or name themselves. If police have reasonable articulable suspicion that a passenger or passengers in the vehicle have committed a crime, at that point the police can demand ID and charge a passenger with obstruction if he or she refuses. However, police need to have evidence the passenger was involved in a crime. They cannot demand ID because they don't like the skin color of the passenger or the passenger's attitude.
And they certainly cannot demand identification or detain somebody because they're simply recording. In this day and age, everybody's gonna record the cops out there. Whenever you're in a traffic stop, or even if you're just walking by, say you're a cop watcher, even if you're just not a cop watcher, you see somebody pulled over, you should record them because you never know. Because in this day they do violate rights. You got people like finding bench warrants and said, "Oh, anybody who films the cops harassing them, they're just trying to do the job." Oh, I say, "Oh, they're trying to figure out what's going on if it's a traffic stop." No, in this day and age, you got cops that get away with it because you got cops that have qualified immunity because they can do whatever they want. Yeah, they can shoot people and get away with it. Why? Because they didn't like their attitude, or they didn't like their skin color, or they didn't like their response, or they didn't like them standing up for their Constitution Amendment rights, or they didn't like the fact that these people were recording them because cameras don't lie.
And as a reminder, all of us have a constitutional right to criticize the police to their face. I wouldn't suggest doing so because some police have fragile egos.
No, especially cops fragile. I mean, I wouldn't go to a cop and say, "Hey, you're a fucking fat pig. Fuck you. Hey, pig, suck my dick." I wouldn't do that. But you know what? If you said that, they have no right to arrest you. And on the constitutional law, it's against the law for them to do it. Because you know what? That's called Constitutional Amendment of freedom of speech.
And care more about their own power than our constitutional rights. Nonetheless, some police interactions stand the test of time. So as always, keep those cameras rolling.
Yep.
It's just a citation for your speed.
Here's another one. Check this out.
We need to take the tint off the windows. So just need to sign this wet box here.
These teenagers have been stopped for speeding, but the passenger, who is just 17, is perplexed.
I have a question really quick.
Sure.
How are we getting a ticket for speeding if we were following you and your lights were not on?
Because I was trying to catch up to somebody.
But your lights
And why were you
on.
following me?
I'm saying you were in front of us and your lights weren't on, so we were going over speed. So how are we getting a ticket?
The video from Facebook was first published by Abaya Israel, former police officer and sheriff's deputy. He runs the YouTube channel We the People University.
So how are we getting a ticket? Because your lights
you're
were on.
speeding.
But that means you were as well.
That's because I'm doing my job. I'm allowed to
Without the lights on?
Without the lights on, said the girl.
Mm-hmm.
The question about whether police can speed without their lights and flashers on is one of the most common that drivers ask. As We the People University has underscored, the public tends to lose respect for police officers who do not follow the same laws and regulations the cops enforce and everybody else. Now, in most states, there is no hard and fast rule that says police must always have their lights and flashers on when speeding. In Michigan, for example, Section 257-603, Part 2 reads, "The driver of an authorized emergency vehicle when responding to an emergency call, but not while returning from an emergency call, or when pursuing or apprehending a person who has violated or is violating the law or is charged with or suspected of violating the law, may exercise the privileges set forth in this section." Part 3. The driver of an authorized emergency vehicle may do any of the following: park or stand, irrespective of this act, proceed past a red or stop signal or stop sign, but only after slowing down as may be necessary for safe operation, exceed the prima facie speed limits so long as he or she does not endanger life or property, disregard regulations governing direction of movement or turning in a specified direction. In other words, if the officer is on a call, there's no regulation or requirement about lights and flashers. And some police may accelerate towards a speeding driver and only put their flashers on once directly behind that driver. Several traffic cops say that waiting until this moment actually creates fewer distractions for other drivers and is safer than having the lights, flashers, and sirens blaring the entire time. However, if a police officer is not on a call and is simply on patrol, most states require the police to obey speed limits and traffic rules.
Yep.
In the case of the teenagers, the young woman was right to be confused. If the officer was really speeding to catch up with somebody, the officer does not need to have his lights on, but if the cop was simply driving along the highway going 80 in a 55 zone just because, and didn't like the kids following him going the same speed, the police officer is a hypocrite who has broken state laws. In general, law enforcement departments and state highway patrol agents...
And here's another thing, too. I mean, you think it costs, well, I'm just doing my job. So it's okay for you to your job to go 80 miles an hour in the 55 or 60 zone and say, whoa, well, I'm just doing my job. No. And so you should. I said, even if you're a police officer, you know, a police officer of the community, you should obey the speed limits nowhere unless you're on a call, like or emergency call, especially. But if you're just doing driving around traffic, point A to point B, I mean, it doesn't get like. I mean, fuck. If we were doing anything, we get pulled over. But yeah, but this cop said, "Well, I should get away because I got qualified men." Fuck that shit, man. Cops have the same responsibility as us law-abiding citizens. See?
Agencies encourage their officers to use flashing lights whenever speeding. And that's smart. For their own safety and reputation,
Police should not be putting themselves above the law.
Yep.
Unfortunately, some cops think that laws do not apply to them.
Yep.
This young woman was right to call out the traffic cop, and she did it in a manner that was both simple and epic.
I'm saying you were in front of us and your lights weren't on, so we were going your speed. So how are we getting a ticket? Because your lights were on.
speeding.
But that means you were as well.
That's because I'm doing my job. I'm allowed to do that.
Without the lights on?
Oh yeah, you hear like, oh, I'm allowed to. Oh yeah, I say. So you, I say, so I say, officer, you're telling me that you're doing your job, so you got the badge and uniform that you're allowed to go 80 miles an hour and 55 to 60 zone? No, I don't think so. Nice try, pig. Nice try. Anyways, I'm out of here. My job. Peace out.